Welcome to Men Pursuing More, the podcast for men who are committed to growth, purpose, and finishing strong. I'm your host, Roger Maupin, and here we believe that real men don't just chase success, they pursue significance. And that means showing up, not just for yourself, but for the people who matter most. Today's episode is part of a special feature on women's health because we believe men have a critical role to play in encouraging, supporting, and standing in the gap for the women in their lives. Whether it's your wife, your daughter, your mom, sister, or grandmother, this is your moment to lead by lifting them up. Women are carrying so much mentally, emotionally, and physically. Their health matters deeply, and as men, we need to be informed and proactive. That starts with listening, learning, and encouraging the women around us to prioritize their wellness and tune in to this episode. So don't just listen for yourself. Share this episode. Talk about it. Let it spark deeper conversation with the women in your life. Because when women are strong, families are strong, communities are strong. And the Men Pursuing More, we show up together. This is what leadership looks like. This is what finishing strong looks like. Welcome to the pursuit. Welcome to Men Pursuing More. I'm your host, Roger Maupin. I believe every man has the potential to push past his limits and strive for something greater. Whether you're a former athlete who is looking for what's next, a professional pushing through the daily grind, or someone simply ready to break through life's toughest challenges, you're ready to step into the pursuit of something more. Your pursuit begins now. Hey, welcome back to Men Pursuing More podcast, and I'm your host, Roger Maupin. I want to welcome back Major Chumley III, Kendra Whittlef, and Sarah Marchio to the podcast. Our focus on this second episode, which is every last Tuesday of the month, is on women's health. We want to encourage men to share this podcast with all the women in their lives and continue to pursue more in all the women in their lives. Wife, sisters, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, other relatives, friends, co-workers, etc. So let's get right to it. And let's start with you, Major. Can you share with the listeners one basic step that helped you in your fitness journey?
One basic step that helped me in my fitness journey, honestly, just consistency. Not looking to be perfect, not looking to do everything, although like you want to at first. You want to do everything, but just being consistent is that's going to usurp anything else you could do.
All right, love it. Consistency. Let's go on to Sarah.
One thing I would say is just find something that you enjoy doing, because that's something you're going to stick to if in regards to just fitness, whether it's yoga, walking, tennis, lifting weights, whatever it is. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick to it. So I would just suggest finding something you really enjoy, and then depending what it is, maybe find someone else who enjoys it. And then you have a built-in accountability partner or playing partner with whatever you're choosing to do.
Accountability. I like it. Kendra.
Basic step was probably the self-discipline. Even though for how much you don't want to do it, you're going to feel good after. So I'd say self-discipline is probably the basic step for me to get started in this health fitness journey.
That's the struggle for a lot of people, that discipline piece. Major, let's go on to you. Share with the listeners in more detail about the blood test you should ask for to check like the hormone health, and how often should a woman have this hormone level checked? Things, testosterone, the thyroid, you name it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting because until I learned more about this, you would go to the doctor and you get lab work, quote unquote, and then it would just be like basic blood work, which is fine, but that doesn't really tell you much about what is actually going on. That's more like almost like current state. Oh, my red blood count is high, my white blood count is high, but we're looking for, like you mentioned, testosterone, progesterone, estradiol, cortisol, thyroid markers. I'd mentioned this to just some, you would go to your doctor and they would just run like a basic thyroid TSH, right? That's most doctors are going to run a TSH if you go to your just general practitioner or your general doctor. And then they're going to tell you, oh, your thyroid is X, Y, and Z. But in reality, there is 5 to 7 different thyroid markers that you should run that's going to give you a better outlook on what your thyroid is actually doing. And so the one that I like to give the example is, does this family look good? And everyone's face is blacked out or blurred out except one person. You can't really say yes or no, right? So how are you going to tell me the thyroid is functioning when we don't really even know, right? So you're looking to get lab work done, in-depth lab work, where we're getting the sex hormones, we're getting the thyroid work. You're also getting the comprehensive, the red, the white blood counts and stuff like that, but we're diving a little bit deeper. And obviously you want to get those twice a year, every 6 months. So January, June is the easiest way to that cadence. And then have someone knowledgeable. It could be your doctor, it could be whomever. Look at those labs, interpret them, and then if you need to go up to any sort of medications and stuff like that, then you're going to know exactly what you need to do. That's the assess, don't guess that I'd mentioned in the past. So that's the baseline on how you want to get these done. You can do them on your own. You don't need your doctor to run these. That's the beauty of this. You can use FSH or what is it, ASH? Or what is the HSA? You can use any of those outlets to pay for them. And then you get them done and run at a LabCorp facility. And then they're going to run those tests and you'll get them back in about a week. And then the results are going to be there. And then you can also schedule a consult with one of those doctors to help you interpret them as well. So there's really no reason to not do this.
Appreciate it. Let's go on to Sarah. Sarah, what would you like to kind of share about what Major was talking about in regards to blood test?
With what he's saying, like the assess, don't guess. It's hard to know what you don't know if you don't know it. Like I think I may have mentioned in the last one podcast that I had never done a blood test before, wanting to do a bodybuilding show. And before that, I had been on 10 years of oral birth control. And I had no doctor ever told me how that would affect any of my hormones going forward, what that would look like. It was just like, take this pill and you're good to go. I did my first blood test and found out that I had extremely low testosterone, even for women. And with my goal wanting to build muscle and be a bodybuilder, that's extremely detrimental to what my overall goal is. So until I was able to learn that was extremely low, I wasn't able to fix it. So upon realizing that it was that low, I had Major look at my labs. He was seeing what wasn't working quite correctly. We were able to modify that. And then my next lab work, it was already back up closer to where normal would be considered.
I appreciate it. It's just firsthand experience that you've had. So I appreciate that. How about you, Kendra?
Kind of what Sarah based off, like when I started working with Major, I had never done any sort of blood test, what my levels are or anything. So the first time I did it, I learned, it was quite the eye opener for me actually, because I learned that my vitamin D levels were like lower than low, where I wasn't taking enough and soaking enough in. And then the second blood panel I got done 6 months after that, I raised it up higher, but I was still on the lower end of things too. So like, even though I was taking that vitamin D supplement, it still takes a lot to register within the body to get your levels up that high. So just doing like the main blood panel and just seeing where your levels are and what the optimal range should be is just an eye opener, because it's a lot. Either you're like very low out of range or like up higher above range. And so it's just an eye opener to see where all the levels are at and see what you need to lower or take in more of. So it's just very much an eye opener that I would never have done if I didn't start working with Sarah or Major.
Appreciate that, Kendra.
Yeah, and,
go ahead.
And I'll add into that. So she used the proper word, optimal, right? Because you have what the lab would then consider normal, right? And then you have what we consider in functional fitness is optimal, right? So normal is these wild, drastic like ranges. So it could be like for a male testosterone, it can be 300 or it can be 1100. If you fall between there, they're going to say you're normal. So if you're at 300, they're going to say you're normal and send you about your way. But an optimal testosterone would be 600 to 1100. So you want to be high normal or optimal. That's the numbers you're looking for, right? So if you just think, oh, I'm normal, and they send you about your way, then you're thinking, okay, why am I still tired? Why am I? And so you're just in this cycle, vicious, just roundabout, right? Where you're not actually making any headway because you're not going to go out and do anything because the doctor said I'm normal. I'm good. And she hit another one, vitamin D. That's on a lab panel. That's not, your doctor is not going to just run that. That's going to be on one of these labs that you go get, right? And so you could be taking vitamin D, but again, just because you're taking it doesn't mean that you're getting enough of it. So then you may need to boost that up. And vitamin D is the precursor to any of your testosterone. And right. So if that's low, that might be the only thing you need to input and then raise your actual testosterone levels. Right. So there's so many different things that you can do that connect the dots on your overall fitness outcomes. And it sometimes can be as simple as just adding in a vitamin D supplement. And it really depends, right? You could be talking about so many different other things, but it can just be as simple as adding in one supplement can change around your whole lifestyle.
I appreciate that, Major. And that's a hot topic, testosterone. I know even my older sister talks about it. That I think she gets testosterone shots, I think it is, and I think her energy level has been so much better. But Sarah, can we go back to you? You're talking about low, like what should be the level for women in regards to like what should be the norm for testosterone? I know it might vary, I'm sure.
I think Major could probably have a better answer to this. If I recall, it's around 30, and I don't even know what measurement that's in, if it's milligram
nanograms per deciliter. Yep. That's good. So it's 30 nanograms per deciliter, and then picograms per deciliter would be like 2.0. So anywhere between 2.0 to 4.0 would be optimized for picograms per deciliter and nanograms per deciliter. If it's above 30, that's going to kind of correlate or cross over. So she hit that one. She's learning.
Yes, yeah. And like when I was tested, mine was at a 5. And it's not working. and it's not that there's not testosterone floating around in my body. It was that there are certain, Major would know this better, obviously, like proteins or different enzymes that weren't converting it properly to be able to be used by my body, if I understood it correctly.
Yep. So different markers allow you to access, right? So you have, the analogy I like to give is money, right? We all understand money. So the one that I give is, we have a bank account. We have $30,000 in that bank account. But if you go to an ATM, you can pull out $2,000 per day. That's what's usable, right? You have 30, but you can't access it, right? So if you have a 5, you're not accessing your proper amount, right? So your 5, you're really only able to pull out like $200 a day, right? You can get 2,000, but you're only pulling out 200 of that 2,000, right? You need to boost that up, whether it be supplementation, whether it be vitamin D. You won't know until you look at the labs and really be able to connect those dots. But you're going to look at the labs, and then each one is going to connect the dot onto the next, right? So once I look at testosterone, then I'm looking at sex hormone binding globulin and seeing where the hormones potentially could be binding up so that we can free those up and then we can then use them, right? So it's the same thing. I don't have enough money. Where am I spending this money? Oh, I got 6 subscriptions to Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, right? So you're like, okay, let me free that money up and then I can use it towards X, Y, and Z. So that's essentially what we're trying to do. When we look at the full lab panel, we're seeing where we can free these things up so then they can be used optimally in the body.
And that's going to be a question like a lot of women would have. And there has been some discussion about it. I know you're knowledgeable about it, but you haven't heard a lot about it. I remember my sister bringing it up just a few years ago, and my wife bringing it. You just haven't heard a lot of conversation about it until, I don't know, maybe the last few years or more. So leading into that, there's like supplements and other things you can do. And maybe we can start with Sarah. Just what are some basic fitness exercise for women? And the research shows the importance of weightlifting exercise to share with women for just getting in shape. I think even also helping testosterone. It's probably just not supplements. It's other things you can do too to increase that. So let's start with you, Sarah.
So I would just say any sort of resistance training is going to help build that muscle over long term. So I know a lot of times women are told or encouraged to do cardio and be cardio bunnies and that sort of thing, but that's not going to burn any of what you're hoping it's going to burn. That's more so just burning extra sugar in the blood at the moment. You need to be building muscle mass. By doing that, you have to have resistance training. So whether that's lifting weights or using bands, just anything more than just your body weight would be a good starting point.
You were made for more clarity, more confidence, more impact. At Maupin Coaching, I help high school and college athletes master the mental game and guide men into purpose-driven leadership. Grab the sports book, rock that merch coming soon, and step into more at maupincoaching.com. What would be some basic lifts for women that are just starting off, they haven't really done much for exercise, and just what might be an area to start off?
Yeah, so just some basic ones. Even a squat is really great. A glute bridge is great for activating the glutes, obviously. But a lot of people that work from home or sit a lot or have sciatic problems, they have trouble activating their glutes. And that's a good one for them that people can do at home. You don't need bands. That is one that will just stimulate those muscles and make sure there's blood flow. As you do body weight push-ups, I know it sounds really hard sometimes, especially for ladies. We're like, we can't lift our own body weight. That's crazy. But do it from your knees. Do it from a chair. Do it any way that you're able to do it. You just have to start somewhere. Start small, and then you can keep adding from there. But it doesn't even necessarily have to feel like I mentioned this before, but not necessarily specific exercises. If you have kids, running around, playing with your kids, being on the ground, getting up, getting down, just mobility in general, I think is overlooked a lot in the fitness world. I think it's all lift heavy, be big, do this, but you can't get to that full potential of full range of motion if you have no mobility. So I would just say start there, making sure you're stretching, making sure you're recovering. Taking that rest is just as important as doing any sort of workout.
And I like what you said about the rest, that kind of recovery, which is so important. Sarah, Kendra, let's go on to you.
Basic fitness exercise that I would recommend or that I've witnessed, kind of what Sarah said too, just start off light and easy and then slowly add, whether that's you have 2 5-pound dumbbells at home or even just 2 like soups of cans, just doing arm bicep curls, just starting off with some kind of movement and then easing into slowly adding more. So like a bicep and then a high knee or something smaller. Like with my mom, I know at night she does her glute bridges and then she adds like resistance bands to it to make it harder. So it's just slowly easing into adding more strength and resistance. And then the more you are consistent and frequently doing that, the more that you will be able to tackle on and gain that muscle that you're hoping for.
All right, Kendra, shout out to your mom. That's awesome. Good to hear. All right, Major.
Yeah, they knocked that one out of the park, and it really doesn't need to be complicated. So many people want to complicate it, and it's really not. It's just move your body, lift heavy things, and drink your water, hydration, and move, right? It's all about movement. Even post meal, right? You eat a meal, go for a walk, right? But really understanding that muscle, because you'll hear metabolism, right? My metabolism is slow. Ever since I turned 40, my metabolism slowed down. I'm 50 now, my metabolism is slow. My doctor says I have a slow metabolism. You'll hear that all the time. And it's, why is your metabolism slow? Is it because you've slowed down? That's why it's slow, right? Muscle is the metabolism. So when you train with weights, heavy enough for you, not for me, right? Because people will see me and I'm not like this biggest guy in the world, but I am muscular, right? So I can't train like you. It's like you can, but it's going to be for what you can handle for 6 reps, 8 reps, 10 reps, right? What's the best rep range to work in? Anywhere from 1 rep to 100. There's no perfect rep range. So pick a rep range, work that rep range, and do that consistently. And over time, you will build muscle, you will build lean tissue, and with that muscle comes your metabolism. So now your body's actually going to get hungrier. That's not a bad thing. So now you can eat more food and build your metabolism. And then now, right, because, when you're in good shape, people eating whatever they want sometimes. And they're like, oh, you're lucky because you could. No, I'm not lucky. I'm consistent. I'm putting the work in, and now I'm reaping those benefits. So it's not a luck thing. We all can do it. It's just how you go about that. And it doesn't have to be very difficult. It can be, but that's because you're listening to 10 different people's opinion on the internet about squats are bad. Oh, squats are good. Deadlifts are bad. Deadlifts are good. Which is it? So then I end up doing nothing. So instead of listening to 10 different people, pick 1 or 2 people that you trust or that you can learn from and roll with that and be consistent day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. And then in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, oh, damn, I put the work in consistently. I'm in the body that I want. Wow, this is pretty damn cool. So that's how it works. It's Amazon Prime today. It used to be 2 days. Now it's today. And that's the world that we live in, right? Like you can go on Amazon and get whatever you order today, literally. And that's how we think fitness works, but it doesn't work that way. So the things that you want today, write that down. And then by next year, you can have that. But people don't want to hear that. They want, what's the quick fix, the 30-day abs, the 30-minute abs, the lose 30 pounds in 30 minutes type stuff. And it doesn't work that way. You got to put the work in. It didn't take you 30 days to get where you at. It's not going to take you 30 days to get to where you want to be. That's the biggest thing that the fitness industry, not the fitness industry, people that want to join in this have the biggest misconceptions is I can just peel it off like that if I do this cardio or if I do X, Y, and Z. And it's no, it takes time. And you got to be willing to put the time in to get what you want out of it.
What you said about, there's a lot of people who talk about, oh, my metabolism slowed down, but guess what? We've slowed down. We're not like moving. We're not doing exercise. So I think along this kind of conversation about what's the importance of, because some say, oh, I just don't have the time. I'm going to try to get a workout at home. What's the importance of, maybe I'll start with you, Sarah, importance of being in a gym or someplace where you're working out? Because some people feel, oh, I feel ashamed. I've gained so much weight. But being in a gym around others that someone can coach you up, or at least being around others and have some form of kind of program. Let's start with you, Sarah.
Yeah, and this is more, I used to not work out in a gym. I started out working out doing at home videos in my college dorm room because I was intimidated to go to a gym because I was like, I can't lift barbells. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to look silly. So I actually didn't ever touch a barbell until COVID happened. And I had a friend that built their own kind of gym, or they had their own rack that they put together. And they invited me over to come lift in their garage. And so I was like very hesitant to do that at first. But then they're like, why? It's just us. Like, who cares? What's the worst that's going to happen? You can't lift it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that is the worst thing that could happen is I can't lift it. What all these fears are silly. And so then I was able to break that fear of lifting in a gym. But there are a lot of clients that I've talked to that are, or even friends that are like, oh, I want to come visit you, or I want to come join the gym, but maybe after I lose 10 pounds, I'll come in. And I'm like, what, how do you plan to do that if you haven't done that yet? What do you mean? So it's just, I don't know if it's just fear of being judged, but I can tell you the majority of people in the gym are so focused on themselves and not in a stuck up way. And hey, I only have 45 minutes. I'm here on my lunch break, or I'm here to just get my own workout done. There are rarely other people looking at you. And if they are, it's usually out of admiration. And it's, oh, wow, look what they're lifting, or that's really cool. Or there's a couple people that will come up and be like, hey, do you know how to do this exercise? Or Major programmed this for me. Do you know what piece of equipment to use? And I think that's the fear of, or like getting over the fear of the gym, is just asking, make a friend. Just pick one person to introduce yourself, comment on their cute shoes or their clothing, or I like what you wore today. That's really awesome. Get a gym buddy, just chit chat. Everyone in there is there to better themselves. Like we all took the same step to go to the gym because we want to be different or better in some sort of way. And so with everyone else having that same mindset and goal, you're already in a good spot. Like everyone there wants to be there for the right reasons, and we're all there to encourage each other. So it would just be some encouragement that most people are nice, even though they look intimidating possibly, but everyone is super, super nice, at least at our gym.
All right, listen, did you hear that? Okay, get to the gym. Thanks, Sarah. Let's go on to Kendra.
I actually, to be honest, I was one of those people that was afraid of getting judged when I first went to the gym. And I know like in high school, we had a strength and conditioning class. And I'd say 98% of them were at like a higher fitness level than I was. And so that class was a complete challenge for me, as I was somewhat the oddball. And I just took it in moment by moment to like, okay, this is where these people are at. I'm down here. They're training for something specific. I'm training for something different. So it's like trying not to compare myself, but yet you're secretly wanting to, or watching them to see like, how can I get to that level? So I was definitely one of those people that would compare myself and like the fright and like getting judged and everything. And then I realized even though we're all in the same place, we're all training differently and we're all here to help one another. So it's like just taking that small step, even though the first few visits may be hard just because you feel like you are getting judged or you feel out of place because you don't know what you're doing. Ask questions, make friends. Like Sarah said, everybody's there to better themselves in some way, shape, and form. And they're all there to help one another.
All right, let's do this together. I love it. All right, Major.
For me, I was born. Honestly, I feel like I was born to do it. I'm not even kidding. I literally started. I wish I'd have took training in high school seriously. Like for me, it was that's gonna make me slower. I'm not gonna be as explosive on the basketball court, on the football field, and it was completely the wrong approach. I remember going to Mr. Humber's strength and conditioning class and literally like in the corner, like fudging numbers, not doing any of the work because I'm like, I'm not trying to not be strong, or I'm not trying to be slow, right? Because speed was my thing in high school, was like being fast, not understanding that this is only going to enhance my speed. So then once I got to college, I just hit the gym, put on, I think 30 pounds of fat and muscle. It wasn't all muscle, but put on 30 pounds, and it was like, man. And then that's when the love for this came about for me. Like it was, and I didn't have any like intimidations and stuff like that of going into the gym. I just didn't really want to do the work at the time because I thought, bad misconception on my part, that it would make me slower in sport, not understanding that no, this is only going to actually make me better. So then once I figured that out and learned that, then it was off and running. And then by 21, 22, I'm in the best shape up until that point in my life. And then now I'm helping people already at that point. So it didn't take me long to like figure out like, this is my calling. This is what I need to be doing. And this is what I want to do it. And then here we are 23 years later.
I appreciate all of you sharing personal experiences because it makes it so much relatable for listeners listening to this podcast. We're going to wrap this up, and I'm just going to ask for some final thoughts. Just give us just a 1 minute kind of final thought from what we talked about today to leave with others. Let's start with you, Major.
Final thought, be consistent. If you're like, just recapping we did, if you're afraid, start at home. Body weight, right? If you're not doing anything, start low, go slow. Start with something. Do something, be consistent. And then as you build that confidence, then you can start to branch out, go into a gym, join a gym, potentially maybe get a trainer, and then learn, right? And as you're learning, then you can start to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to maybe do this on my own. But yeah, I hear it all the time. Sarah said a little bit ago is I'm going to lose 10 pounds first and then I'll call you. But you've tried that, right? That's not working for you. So we're the GPS, right? Your trainer's the GPS, especially if you pick a good one, right? We know Florida is to the south, but how do we get there? So we can bypass the dead ends and stuff like that. If you get a trainer and they're going to take you straight to the destination without the hiccup.
All right. Appreciate that, Major. Kendra, 1 minute, go.
Self-discipline is going to be big on you. I know it's going to be hard, and like without the accountability, either putting that on yourself or having an accountability partner, you're going to need that discipline, because the second you miss one day, you'll be like, oh, I'll start tomorrow. And then you're like, oh, you're just going to keep pushing back. And so to have self-discipline and even an accountability partner, that's a great way to start, and then ease into doing more partner activities or work with a trainer that's going to hold you accountable at the gym, and just start off easy and work your way up.
Appreciate that, Kendra. Sarah, 1 minute, go.
Going off of what Kendra said, start tomorrow, start today, start tonight. Don't wait for January 1st. Please don't. Plus, then you're just going to be all nervous of all the new people. There are way more people in the gym January 1st. So if you're worried about there being a lot of people and being judged, which you won't be anyway, but there are less people there now. So start today, just saying that. But then also just don't have an end goal. You know, like your goals are always going to be changing. Or at least for me personally, mine was I want to put on muscle. I want to be bigger. I don't want to be skinny. I want to be strong. And then I got strong. I was like, okay, I want to have more specific desired bigger delts, or I want bigger legs specific. And you learn that you are your own biggest project that you'll ever work on. And then just never stop working on yourself is what I would say, because jobs come and go, this and this, but it's like you always have one body. You better take care of it, because it's the only thing that's going to keep you going throughout life. So I would just say, take it one day at a time. Don't rush anything and enjoy the ride.
All right. That's a wrap with Major Chumley.
Don't rush it, but crush it.
Hey.
Say that one more time.
Don't rush it, but crush it.
There we go. That's a wrap with Major Chumley III, Sarah Marchio, and Kendra Whittlef. And I want to thank you for being part of this second episode of Women's Health, and episodes of the last Tuesday of each month on Men Pursuing More podcast or maupincoaching.com. Hey, thanks for listening to Men Pursuing More podcast. Don't forget to follow us at maupincoaching.com.